Ed Gonzalez, Harris County Sheriff. First of all, our condolences go out to Carolee Taylor's family. What should be a happy season of the year instead has been a horrific time period for many. The family, I was there that evening, and then for many law enforcement officers that have been on an active manhunt for the last few days ever since this transpired on Christmas Eve. Earlier today, members of our Harris County Sheriff's Office deputy team and other law enforcement personnel were able to finally locate Albert Benjamin Simon here at Hermann Park. He was seated near a bench near the tea house garden nearby. They approached him and gave him verbal commands. Apparently, he made a quick move towards the backpack that he had and then began to start running away. They discharged, one of the deputies discharged his weapon and was able to strike Simon. He was transported to the hospital and he was pronounced at 3:38 p.m. by a doctor there at the hospital. The Houston Police Department will be taking the lead on the shooting investigation itself. So far, no other injuries have been reported. But again, we're relieved that the manhunt is over. We never know in these circumstances how they will come to an end. Our priority was to try to locate him and to just hold him accountable for his actions. And the rest were decisions that he was going to make. He was still on the run. We were still posting information on seeking his whereabouts. And again, tremendous job by law enforcement today, not only to take quick action, but to also make sure that the community at large was protected when they had to take that action out here today, ensuring that the others were safe. And they had just a minuscule moment to make that split-second decision to make that right call and discharge their weapon when they feel he was going to continue to be a threat. So again, very relieved that it's over. Again, this all stemmed from a domestic violence homicide. We ask anybody that's out there going through a very difficult relationship of any kind that there are resources out there, such as the Houston Area Women's Center and other agencies out there. Just want to thank all our law enforcement partners that were a part of the search, DPS, Gulf Coast Violent Offenders Task Force, Houston Police Department. We've been working very closely with them since this transpired and can't thank them enough. So, Chief Fenner, thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you, Sheriff. Just want to thank you for your leadership, and I want to say on the very start of it, so proud of our relationship, all our law enforcement partners. We were on this since day one, sharing information, and just from the Houston PD side, Chief Acevedo and Mayor have both been briefed on the incident or today. And we just want to message out to our public. This is an isolated incident. This person has been captured and brought to justice, unfortunately. But I want to commend our citizens out here and all the police officers who responded. The citizens worked with us amazingly and got to a safe area and allowed us to do what we can do. And I'm just proud of our city. If you can look around right now, even though we had tragedy here, it's a Saturday. And kids are still playing in the park. And that's what we're about here in Houston, Harris County. And we just want everybody to move forward. And the word, anybody should come out to the park and not be concerned about an incident like this. And sometimes we're in a large city, a large county, and things do happen. But you got police professionals that take care of business. And I'm proud today, and I'm proud of this community. So we'll open up for questions.
Let me say briefly a few things in Spanish before we move to questions. Esta tarde, oficiales de nuestra agencia, de la oficina del alguacil del condado de Harris, continuaron la búsqueda de este sospechoso Albert Benjamin Simon, que el día de Nochebuena mató a su exnovia. Era su cumpleaños esa noche. Nuestro pésame continúa con la familia, nuestras oraciones. Esta tarde lo localizamos aquí en el parque de Hermann. Estaba sentado en una banca aquí cerca del parque. Se anunciaron los oficiales. Él hizo un movimiento hacia una bolsa que tenía y comenzó a tratar de correr. Le dispararon. Fue herido aquí en la escena. Inmediatamente lo trasladaron a un hospital donde él murió aproximadamente a las 3:38 de la tarde. Entonces, estamos contentos que ya se resolvió esto porque estaba una búsqueda muy grande. Nunca estamos en control de cómo va a terminar esta escena cuando alguien anda huyendo, pero ya por lo menos terminó. And again, Chief Fenner said it again, our agencies, I believe, I can say from my behalf are top notch, do phenomenal work each and every day. It's really tough to sometimes police in big urban areas, but our teams do phenomenal work. We've all been battle tested with some of the biggest cases this year, but we've always stood up, worked together as we were today. We're on the phones today talking and making sure that we were going to stay on this case no matter what. We're glad that it came without anybody else being injured. It's a busy park out here. A lot of people are out here. We didn't know his intentions. This could have gone a lot worse, but if not for the quick actions of our law enforcement community out here, once again, taking care of the community at large. We'll open it up for questions.
So were deputies tipped off about him being here at the park?
I'm sorry?
Were deputies tipped off about him being at the park, or was this randomly just
We've
coming
been
across?
tracking down a lot of different leads through a lot of different angles, and so they just happen to be here at this park searching. I don't know what led them here specifically. We're not in a position right now to disclose that right now. We just know they were able to locate him and immediately began to approach him so that they could try to get it resolved peacefully if they could.
Sheriff, we know that the suspect left in a dark Grand Cherokee, Christmas Eve. You said that. Was he in that same vehicle when he arrived here, or if you can say it en español, por favor?
No sabemos en qué vehículo estaba porque lo encontraron aquí sentado en una banca, entonces no sé en qué carro andaba, si seguía en el carro que tenía o si había cambiado carros. We located him. He was sitting on a park bench out here, so we don't know at this point yet. That's something that HPD will investigate out here as part of their scene investigation. But we don't know what vehicle he was in. We know he initially fled the scene in a Jeep Cherokee. That's what we've been putting out. I don't personally know if he's changed vehicles or not. Perhaps he has. We don't know what he drove to the park in today.
When it comes to any weapons, he left the gun at the scene. Can you tell us if he had a weapon on him, what the bag had?
We haven't gotten to the bag yet. HPD, right. We want to protect the integrity of the scene. When he left the scene, he left one weapon, but he left another one. He was still armed. That's why we believe he was still armed.
The scene is still active, and a lot of questions on the particulars we're just not going to be able to answer. I don't want to speculate it. I'll just tell you when we find out the information, we'll get it out to you guys. But right now, you can see it's an active scene, and investigators and the crime scene units are still arriving. Go ahead.
How many shots were fired?
I think at least two. I can say that, but I'm not sure if it was more.
From one officer or more?
One officer's involved.
Yeah. It was one of our Harris County Sheriff's Office deputy in the fire that we believe it's 2 times. He did, when they were talking to him, giving them commands, it's my understanding that they apparently he began yelling, shoot me, as he was going for the bag. Parece ser solamente un oficial del alguacil, de la oficina del alguacil fue el que disparó. Parece ser que solamente 2 veces, y en el intercambio que tuvieron verbal parece que él comenzó a gritar que le disparara antes de que fue a la bolsa.
Let me explain one thing. I'm sorry because we wasn't clear on that. It's an officer-involved shooting, and it's a sheriff department, but it's in the city of Houston. So HPD will take lead, our special investigative unit, along with the district attorney's office, and they'll join with us with the administrative part. So get everybody on the same page.
We always want to be clear on that because it's always bears just reminding folks there's always a very thorough and independent investigation that goes on in this case. They're going to conduct their own investigation based on the evidence, the witness statements and all that they have, along with the DA's office. As I said, the medical examiners will have another review of it, and then ultimately all of this will go to the DA's office for further review.
Are you all able to say where he was shot?
We don't know. He was transported very quickly to the hospital, so he was shot 2 times. At least 2 times is what we've been told. He was taken to the hospital and pronounced deceased at 3:38 by a physician.
Usted lo acaba de decir que en estos momentos quizás hay personas, hay mujeres, hombres también quizás, víctimas de lo mismo que este señor aparentemente hizo. ¿Cuál es el mensaje a la comunidad, sobre todo con la rapidez que ustedes dieron con este sujeto?
Es muy peligroso estas escenas. Lamentablemente no es la primera vez que hemos visto situaciones de violencia doméstica. Pasa mucho en este país, pasa mucho en esta comunidad. Le tenemos que poner alto, recordarle al público que es contra la ley, que no vamos a tener piedad para personas que están abusando a otros. Y por favor que sí, hay recursos y necesitan hacer un plan de cómo pueden salirse de esas relaciones porque puede ser fatal. He was asking briefly just about domestic violence. It's a serious epidemic around the country, here in our community as well. We all work very closely to make sure we're working with the Houston Area Women's Center and many other shelters. They have a top-notch domestic violence unit, so do we. What you don't know about domestic violence can kill you, so become informed about the issue. It impacts all communities, not only the survivors themselves, but the family members, their co-workers, the entire community. So we need to put a stop to domestic violence.
Chief, did you want to say something on that?
No, he covered it, and I don't want to repeat the same thing that he was saying, but it's a huge problem, and we need people to speak up, and if you're a victim, get some help. We have a lot of resources out there. We never want to blame a victim of domestic violence, but it's a real crime, it's a real danger, and it's driving our homicide numbers up in our city. So just as the sheriff said, we work together to try to make things a little bit better with that.
I know. That someone was helping him hide.
None.
He lived in the area, and his face has been everywhere. Was he trying to hide his appearance in any way, wearing a ball cap, or because it's obviously a very public park, people are everywhere?
This is all preliminary because, again, everything we just said here, let me just add the caveat that it's preliminary. We're just trying to update as quickly as possible. But they recognized him pretty quickly. Our deputies did, so I'm going to assume just based on what they said, I haven't seen him, but they recognized him pretty quickly. So I don't think he was trying to cover his appearance. And again, Carolee was an amazing person from everything I've heard from family and friends. They had a candlelight vigil last night for her. I want to thank HPD for having security there for them as well. They're relieved about what's happened. I've touched base with a few of them. And I hope that everyone remembers her for how she lived, not how she died, and her daughter as well, because she will be missed. And that's all we have to say. Any final questions?
Could you talk a little bit about, again, just the safety efforts taken to make sure nobody else was hurt? I mean, a busy time in the park. Just talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, like I was saying, you never know in these type of situations, that moment in time when there's a massive manhunt, at what point. We kept pleading early on that he should turn himself in. We didn't want anybody else to get hurt, even being able to make sure his safety was okay. We didn't want a middle of the night traffic stop and the law enforcement officer or somebody else get hurt. It happened to be here at the park. They had to take quick action. They tried to isolate him to where he was at in a bench. The backdrop was such that they felt that there were no other citizens, even though it was so many people out here. A busy afternoon, beautiful afternoon, and so they had to take that quick shot. And when he made that evasive action and going for the bag, and so kudos, a tip of the hat to the law enforcement officers that were out here that made it happen and did it the right way, and quickly as well. We took him quickly to get medical attention. He just succumbed to his injuries at the hospital.
Should we still be on the lookout for that vehicle?
No, I don't think they should be on the lookout for the vehicle anymore. I've just heard a little bit of conversation. I think they've got some information on the vehicle. If there's any other information, or once we look at a timeline and what other tracks he may have left behind, we'd like to know if somebody has any information on any evidence or anything that he may have left somewhere. But for now, we think that the vehicle we may have a possible location for the vehicle. So we'll confirm with the team. And I just want to thank again HPD, Captain Philpott here, Tony Nguyen with our Harris County Sheriff's Office homicide team. They've been on the go not only with this particular murder, but many others that we're working on, unfortunately, right now. But they do a top-notch job. So thank you all. Appreciate it.
Thank y'all.